relaxing, ain't it? People watch me every night. Found that very hard in our place, will you bring me a drink, please?
Yeah, not a problem, man. Oh, Chad. Didn't see yous over there. Welcome back to another episode of Waydes World. Proudly brought to you by Wade himself, in accordance to the truth. Now everything said is based on individual experience or individual research. So thank you all for coming on and tuning on in. So from here on out, let's open the door to the next episode. Welcome. Welcome to Waydes World.
This life is the chance to do my thing. All that I want in this life is the chance to do my thing.
I want the top. All my people right there in the back of the spot. I need the top. If you know me, you don't know me to stop. I need the top. All my people there in the back of the spot. Let them get shot. Yeah.
And you don't just wake up rich one day. This kind of life never just slip your way. I gave up taking carefree trips to the Bay. Cali bound is cause I got a flip in LA. Paris bound cause the new video's on the way. No breaks for me, no vacates for me. I advance a minute, boy, I live it. Why start shit you don't finish?
I want the top. All my people right there in the back of the spot. I need the top. If you know me, you don't know me to stop. I need the top. All my people there in back of the spot. Let them get shot. Yeah.
Drinks on chill, got drinks on chill. Lights get dim and I think I will. I work so hard that I think I will. Yeah, the long week, bitch, how you think I feel? History favors the bold dog. Roll something, make sure my story gets told. Make sure our story gets told. The night's forever young, it's us that get old. Chance to do my thing.
I want the top. All my people right there in the back of the spot. I need the top. If you know me, you don't know me to stop. I need the top. All my people there in back of the spot. Let them get shot. Yeah. I want the top, 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 top. All my people right there in the back of the spot. I need the top, 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 top. If you know me, you don't know me to stop. I need the top, 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 top. All my people there in back of the spot. Let them shout. Yeah.
All right, kia ora, and welcome to Waydes World for another episode, whānau, and thank you very much for tuning in again. We are at, and I know that the guest doesn't even know this, but we're at episode number 40. So we're at the beginning of a new cycle, which is awesome. And I believe that this conversation at the beginning of the cycle will start off a new cycle in Waydes World, especially due to healing and looking into each and every one of ourselves, really. Because when we look at the world as a bigger picture, we've got to really start with ourselves. And this is where this man here that I've been sort of on and off conversating for the last 2 years with lives in the Sunshine Coast in Brisbane, Australia, or just above Brisbane, I should say.
Yeah, just above Brisbane.
Just above Brisbane in Australia there in the sunshine state of Queensland. and he's had a journey. He's lived a couple of different lives, I would say, already in a sort of sense. But what I'll do is his name is Jake. I will pass him over to Jake, and Jake can introduce himself and give you a little bit of a rundown on where his life has gone with and where it will continue to go. So welcome, Jake, and thank you for giving me your time on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, hello everyone that is listening. Thanks for the opportunity, Wade. I'm excited to be able to share my story here today, and really looking forward to having this conversation.
No, awesome, bro. Awesome. Thank you. And look, we were just talking just before we went on here, and I actually had to stop you to go, hang on, we got to record this because I don't want to miss this. But I want to speak on something just very quickly. A post you put out on Instagram about an hour ago. It really spoke about where your career sort of took you, the good places that it took you. It also spoke about the feelings behind the ending of your career. And where you sort of want to continue from here on. So, yeah, there you go. What was the big I guess what's the push behind on releasing that sort of healing sort of post?
I'm just in a bit of a phase at the moment. As you can see with my Instagram, I'm using it to show men it's okay to be a bit vulnerable and share experiences and their growth and their healing. I think for me personally, I feel some of my stories and my journey in my life so far has some benefit to it, and the stories that I do share, I only share like things that I feel I want to share. If people want to know more about me, then I really appreciate when people be vulnerable and reach out. But the last post I put up was more or less just about my identity within rugby league when I was a player, then sort of coming out of that, and my healing journey has allowed me to express this, because 2-3 years ago, when I was still a bit lost and trying to find out who I was, I would never share something like that, but where my sort of journey is at now, and the experiences I've gone through, the ceremonies, the breath works, meeting new people, it's pretty cool to be able to share those things. And I love it when people reach out and then they express to me some of their stories. And that's very humbling that someone has the trust within me to actually be able to share those sort of things. So I feel at times when I do put those things out, I'm looking to see if I can connect or resonate with someone.
Yeah. No, and I feel you on that, because that's exactly sort of, I guess that's kind of how the line of sort of me and you both met a couple of years ago, is that, I was sort of in that sort of stage where I'd got through post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, depression. I was starting to speak out, obviously, about what was going on in the world, but also keeping the mental health in check as well. So to see the growth from the last couple of years in yourself, bro, and I know you stepped away from social media for a little bit as well. You actually took a hiatus, I called it. And then you created a whole new page, which was kind of like, I thought in my mind was, like you're saying, you're starting to create your new identity rather than the old footy playing, bash them, smash them, sort of thing. You're starting to open up. I guess a new world.
Yeah, mate, I've gone through phases. If I were to be able to look over my Instagram from the last decade, like, sometimes it was after footy games, you'd put a thing out there to try and look cool, and stroke the ego at pubs and clubs, all those sort of things. Whereas I sort of went into, all the stuff that happened the last couple of years, I was, pushing out information and these things. And then I sort of had a bit of a realization within myself where I'm like, no one's going to sway my mind. No one's going to shift my perception of what I feel and the information I'm looking at. So I don't feel the need anymore to shove it in other people's faces. You either choose to look at it or you don't. And I sort of just took myself away from it. And it was anywhere between like 7 to 9 months. And it was really cool, just it allowed me to have more time in my day to process myself. And that's when the sort of real deep healing started, when I went inwards on myself. And I was like, come to a stage where I was like, I'm going to use Instagram now as a place where I can control who I allow into my little, section and community, and I'm going to start sharing things that maybe people haven't read about a man before. Like I still have a lot of learning to do. I'm only really now starting to learn about feminine energy and all these things, because I've been sitting so far in the masculine my whole life, of this big, tough, got to fucking do this and that and express myself in a real manly way, where and it's taken me down the track of learning how females, express themselves emotionally, and men have that. We just think that we've got to be these big warriors all the time and tell people what to do, and no, you don't fuck with me and all that. Like, it doesn't work like that. Well, it may for a bit, but you end up getting checked at some point, and that's when I think the realizations and the self-work begins to happen in people, or it doesn't. You stay like that for your whole experience. But I'm willing to learn, and the universe has humbled me.
And that's the best statement that you can make right there, bro, is you're willing to learn, and you're willing, you're just willing to allow the universe to come to you now. Like, I know we had this conversation again just before the start of this recording, but with your, we will just touch on your career quite shortly, just so that people can understand where you say that you're all masculine. You really had the most perfect masculine job you could ask for, couldn't you? If no one knows who you are, bro, or hasn't seen you play, I guess, where did your career start, and how did it sort of get to sort of the end, and where you're going today, I guess, from once you finished up playing footy?
Okay, so I got signed by the Dragons when I was 16, on a junior contract, whatever that is, and I'm from Wollongong originally, so I always had like this connection in me to want to go back and play for the Illawarra Steelers. It obviously they ended up turning into the St. George Illawarra Dragons, which was great. Like, it didn't really bother me. I just wanted to go home to Wollongong and be a part of it, and I was fortunate enough to do that. And when I look back on my life, I got everything I ever asked for as a young fella. I was training full time when I was 19. I had all these things, but I had so much childhood trauma. I've witnessed my mum and dad break up in front of me. I heard the start of that conversation, and I didn't know what that meant at that time. I was 12. I had an understanding of why why it happened, but like to not have my dad there all the time to protect me and show me certain things, and then my mum was obviously going through her stuff, and we were all there to witness that. We moved up to the Sunshine Coast originally, away from everyone, and I had to go to new school, meet all these new people, and that was hard on me, man. Like, I didn't know. I still have trust issues. I'm still breaking through those sort of barriers to allow people in to see me, and what I share helps me do that. So, that's the benefit of that. But I've got so much stuff inside of me that, so much anger still, so much shame, fear, all these things. But I know the work I do is releasing these things, and when I was in footy, when I seen my heroes, I always put them on a pedestal, because I'm like, look, I'm here. I'm here now. This is cool, Yeah, whatever they said was sort of I done, So I was like, I want to play first grade. What do I have to do? And I started seeing things that in me I knew at times wasn't right, but because I thought that's what we got to do, that's what we got to do. So I started creating this egotistical young fella that thought he was better than people that he knew because he was a footy player, and I had that all the way till 2 years ago. But I started breaking myself down, and maybe when I was about 29, thinking, you know what, like I'm nothing special, and that sort of coming to where I am now. But at the start, like, I was fortunate, man. Like, I got to hang around all my heroes. I got to earn money. I got to do this, got to do that, and then I actually got sacked by the club as a 22-year-old because I fucking had 500 million misdemeanors, things I'd done wrong. I broke my hand on the piss, getting kicked out of nightclubs, all these things. But when I look back now, I was screaming out for help because I understand what trauma is. You know what I mean? I understand that I didn't do those things to hurt anyone. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I literally did, and I didn't know how to express myself as a young man. I didn't know how to ask for help. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I didn't know why I would bring people in close and then self-sabotage a relationship and push them away. I was a genius at it. Like,
Yeah, I was good at that too, bro. I was good
yeah,
at
bro.
that too.
Like, like I destroyed my footy career as a 22-year-old. I had a 2-year deal there, torn up. I was on my last chance, and my phone died when I went out one night when I just got myself back in the team, and I was at a girl's house. I had 100 missed calls when I woke up in the morning, and then I got sacked after Mad Monday. You know, these are all lessons that I look back on now and go, oh, fuck, look, who else has been sacked after Mad Monday? No one. No, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, that's a story. Like, that's something I can share, Like, then I went and worked in a dog food factory in Redcliffe. So I've gone from earning, really good money as a young fella to $16.50 an hour in a dog food factory. Like,
see, that's a huge change just right there, right? Because
yeah, bro.
Let's be honest, a minimum NRL contract is 75.
Back then I think it was 60.
60,
or 60. But I was on that when I was maybe 21.
Yeah, so you've pretty much gone from being
like I was getting that first juicy, like that first little juicy contract, and then it's just torn up, and it is what it is, it doesn't exist anymore. But I got humbled working at a dog food factory. I was on less than minimum wage. I had the worst job ever, like the worst job. But I knew I knew in my mind, I've always had some, some whatever it is, high power, your inner voice, whatever it is, was like, mate, we're turning up, and if you turn up every week, we'll get you back to where you need to be, where you want to go. And I did that for 2 years. I didn't, there was days where I didn't want to go. I fucking got up. These are things that people don't see or know about me. Like they think, I'm just sort of, I'm this guy and this. But like, man, I had some fucking struggle. Bro, I slept in my car. I know what it's like to have no money in my account. I know what it's like to have, good amount of money in my account. I can resonate with these people that don't feel that they're that worthy, because I've been like that.
So you've seen the high and you've seen the low, haven't you?
Yeah, bro. And that's the thing. That's the cool thing about life, dude, is that it gets fucking hard, and it is hard, but it's teaching you. It's not happening to you. It's happening for you. It's breaking ceilings for you. And some of us, and I know at that time, man, there's times where people throw the towels in, and it's very sad, man, because they think the way out is to not be here anymore. Yep. And I don't think I've ever been to that place, but I've been to some places where I'm like, what the fuck is this? Why is this happening to me? So, sitting in the pity party, where I
in the victim mentality, that victim
bro.
mentality in general.
100%.
It's why is
and
it
I'm
me?
Lucky, and I'm lucky I'm aware of that sort of stuff now. Whereas before I was like, why does this keep happening to me? And then I look back and I'm like, because you fucking needed it, mate.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You needed it because you were being a dickhead, and this is what it is. You were attracting it through your energetical, manifestation. And I was fortunate, man. Paul McGregor, I met with him in 2014 when they played in Brisbane, and I just went up to him, organised a meeting with him. I kept in touch with people at the club, because the thing was, I thought no one liked me. Like, that's what I was so like. They put up with so much shit from me, so much shit, because they liked me. But I was pushing the boundary, always going, oh no, I'll wait till you fucking get rid of me. Like, I was self-sabotaging my own career. Like, fuck, man. I look back and I just laugh at myself. I'm like, you kook. But then, you know what I mean? Like, that's all you can do now is like, fuck, I can't, you know what I mean? That's all I can do. I'll have a laugh, and then I sort of like, okay, well, look what I'm doing now, though. But to Mary's credit, I ended up catching up with him, and I just explained, man, I put my heart on the line. I was like, hey, man, whatever you think I need to do, you tell me and I'll do it. I was I just put my heart on the table. I was like, I want to come home. I feel I can add to the squad. And to Mary's credit, he gave me a piece of paper 2 weeks later. It was a training trial. I think it was like the 800 a week till Chrissy. Then they redo the deal to go to the trials. So I moved back down to Wollongong, and I lived with like pretty much my second family, the Sepulvedas. They looked after me. I've lived with them probably a third of my life. You know, they saved my life. Like I owe them so much. And
Yeah.
I 2 weeks before Chrissy, Mary pulled me in and he's like, mate, we're going to keep you through to the trials, and I'll, you know, let me know early. And I was wrapped, dude. I'm like, yes, I'm still here, like fucking mad. You know, gave me like a lot of, you know, some pats on the back, and that's what I needed, man. Sometimes I needed my tires pumped up, because I was always on myself. I'm like, fuck, do I deserve to be here? Why am I here? Like, you know, I just had no. I would front it though, like as the most confident, loud person, make everyone else happy. That's because inside, my little inner child was fucking battling some demons that no one knew about, as we all do, man. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
This is what. Yep. Go. Have you got it? Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, absolutely, and
Yeah.
that's what I was like with
Yeah.
footy as well. You know, growing up playing, you know, I obviously a little bit different. Didn't make it first grade, but got to,
Yep.
you know, through the Auckland grades and then up into Fox Memorial, which is our, you know, our top competition over here. Won a Fox Memorial championship, but you know, every time people would say, bro, you know, you're going further than what, you know, what you're doing right now at playing Fox at 16, but I was the same as I never really saw what I was doing. I never really, you know, you score 2 tries or 3 tries in a game and everyone's fucking, yeah, fuck, you're the man. But at the end of the day, you walk home and you're like, well, fuck, I dropped the ball twice in the game. I missed throwing that pass that would have scored us another try.
Mm-hmm.
And I critiqued myself so much more than what everyone else really thought. And I was my worst critic at the end of the day.
100%, man. And it was funny, even when after we come back after Chrissy, I was sort of like, I started being like, I can do this. Like, you know, that's when I was like, I can do this, because I've always had the confidence in myself. But when I started doing it, and I was like, fuck, I'm gonna make sure I play Charity Shield here. So I set my goals down, you know, play Charity Shield. Then Mary goes, we're going to keep you for the rest of the year. And I was like, fuck, this is so, like, I was like, I did it. I done it. And I was like, wow, okay, well, maybe that's when the self-worth got off 0 and went to 0.5. You know what I mean? That's when it broke that little bit of ceiling. And that was as a footy player. Like, as a person, I was still very unsure of myself. Then I started.
Most people will, as well, most people understand that you have, like, especially like most footy players out there, we've got a switch where we turn it on and off, don't we?
Yep.
You sort of, as you're running out of that or just as you're getting changed or running out of the you know, out of the dressing room, boom, the switch goes on.
Yep.
And then just it's like you're a I wouldn't say a different person, but you don't hold as much back. Like, everything gets let go on the field.
Yeah. I'd really like later in the conversation too to talk about the mindset, like, or at least my mindset before a game or going into a game.
Love to hear that. Yep.
Yeah, bro. And then that year, man, was so cool, because so when I played reserve grade, I'd get paid $500, and then when I played first grade, it'd be $4,000 match payment, if I'm correctly. And I ended up playing 21 games that year.
Well, it's not a bad fucking pay that year.
Well, when that's the thing. So I was like, starting to see the monthly payments, and I was like, fuck, you know. But then I started going, oh, that's what I'm worth monetarily. Like, you know what I mean? So self-worth, still not, but as a rugby league player, I'm like, oh, I've got cash now. I can do these things, you know. And I had fun, you know, externally. You know, I was able to go to trip at the end of the year to New York during this year. You know, was able to do things during the season, you know, go out. But I was still training and playing footy, which is what I went down there to do. You know what I mean? And 2015 was a great year. It was the first year the Dragons made the semis again. We got knocked off by the Bulldogs in Golden Point.
I remember that game. You know? I remember that. Yeah, I was going for yours too.
Yeah.
I had you over the Doggies.
Yeah, man. It was crazy. Then, you know, the Mad Monday was a good time, and I was like, wow, this is cool. Like, I'd already been signed for the next year. So there was no, like, real going into the off-season any worry, because I was like, I've got a job next year, got some cash, I've got some fun things set up, and then I'll get back into it, you know. And the 2016 come around, and I took it really hard, dude. I like, with my trauma, I took anything personal, anything that, like, you know, not being invited to coffee, even if it was a joke, that would hurt me. Yeah. And then I had this thing where I would fly off the handle. and I'll be like, well, fuck you, cunts. Like, you know, or can I say C word?
Yeah, all good. All
Yeah,
good.
yeah. I was like,
yeah.
you know, like, and then I'll be like, well, what the, like, you know, but like, I took it so personal, and then I started going, why am I always so angry? But then I just forget about it. You know what I mean? So at the start of 2016, I was the only player from memory that, unless they left to go to another club, that didn't get their jersey back. And I took that to heart me. Like, I was like, hold on, like, you just took my jersey away without allowing me to, you know, to lose it, or, you know what I mean? Like, I thought I would be in that thing. So I actually asked for a release after the first or second game. And that sort of fractured the relationship. So now these are things I look back on that I have to own.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, I own this now, that I asked for a release because I had an opportunity to go to another club at that time. It come up the day after I asked for a release, and they said no. And I was like, okay, so you won't play me, but you won't release me. I don't understand this. So I started getting like frustrated and that sort of stuff. Anyway, ended up playing in Reggie's and getting picked in the first round. I played another, 20 games that year or whatever. And I was like, rightio. Got kept for the next year. And then I was like, well, this, I've earned the contract after this now, sort of thing. I played about just before, I think I just played just on 50 games. My career was at 50 games. And the end of 2016 season, this is where my ego's funny, is I had the player review, and they're like, pump your tyres at the start, another good year, and he's like, mate, you're not going to play next year because we've got these young blokes come through and the playing managers wanted to make sure there's a thing here for them. And I was like, my ego, instead of taking it personal, I was like, well, I'll show you then. Like, I'm going to train my ring out, all that sort of stuff, man. So I went into that off season. I was the only one that knew this. I didn't tell anyone this, because I was just like, I'll get through this. I've been challenged before. I was working in a dog food factory 2 years ago. So I was sort of feeling myself, you know what I mean? Like, I'll take this on. That's all good. I played in the Charity Shield every year bar 1 year, I think, when I was at the club. I didn't get picked for that. And I was coming off the bench in reserve grade for the first trial. So I'd just been white, bro. Like, so fully white.
You've not even been just dropped out of first grade. You've been dropped out of the starting lineup of the reserve grade.
Dropped out of the
too.
whole shit. Yep. Out of the whole shit. And I was just like, wow, this is going to be a fucking shit year with self-worth low.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, and I'm like, wow, so this is what it's going to be like this. So I look back now, I got to see how some people work. You know what I mean? Like, I got to see the dark side, the business side of that entity. You know what I mean? I got to see a dark side of life, so pretty much.
You got to stop and observe the rest of shit that's going on around you.
100%, and it sort of made me feel inside like, well, I don't want to be like these guys. So what do I then in turn need to be better? But I at the time I was turning to the piss. Like, I didn't know how to. I didn't have the tools, and I was taking sleepers on my days off. Like, I was getting up, going and doing my extras, having breakfast and coming home at 9:30 and having a sleeping tablet to sleep through my day off because I didn't. Yeah, dude. Like, this is where I was going. Like,
yeah,
bro. Like, I was fighting some fucking demons because I was like, I'm not a first grader anymore. Who am I?
And then you just want to sleep your day away, I'm gathering, just fucking bypass it.
Yeah, bro, because people asking, why aren't you playing? What happened? What this? What that? So I don't want to have that conversation. I can't even have that conversation with myself. Why would I want to? Because when people would ask me, I feel like I don't want to fucking talk about it.
Yep.
Because I don't know. And then, I made it my goal. I'm like, I'm going to make him pick me. I'm going to make him pick me. Like, so that was my like little gasoline on my fire. Because mate, it was gone. Like, he didn't want to pick me. We'd see each other in the hallway, and I'd have my head on. I'd just walk straight past him. I carried on like I done what I thought I needed to do for myself. I was like, I don't want to have. I couldn't if a confrontation with him or a conversation happened. I didn't know what I would say because I'd be triggered straight off the bat. I'd go straight into my feelings, my neglect, my fears, my shame, all these things that was sitting in me, bro. And funny enough, Freddie picked me in the city country team.
I remember that. I remember that one too.
Yeah, from Reggie's, and that was. I look back now, and it was funny. It's like the universe was like, well, this is your last year here, so we'll give you that, sort of thing. Like, that's the sort of way I look at it. And that was a magical week. That was so cool. And I thought to myself, I'm like, that I played like 55 minutes, and they go, I'm like, that might get me a start somewhere else.
Yeah.
Then my manager just was taking my money, bro. Wasn't, said he was doing this, and that. And I ended up starting to reach out to people at other clubs, and they're like, mate, we didn't even know you were off contract. And I was like, wow.
So your manager literally
just
hung you out to dry.
Me. Yeah, bro. Lied. Didn't want to help me, because they can only sell you. Like, they only move you around if they're going to make money off you. Once you can't keep going up and make them money, you're gone. That's how it works. Quick
question for you, just in between there.
Yeah.
Are there many NRL players that that do all the negotiation themselves, or is it all through management?
I'm pretty sure, not like, mate, 99% this is the player managers. I don't think there's anyone I don't think they allow it. You know what I mean? I think that's how it works. That's the business side of it, dude, So in saying that was my experience.
Yep.
Like, I don't know what anyone else is doing, but at that time, that's what I experienced, And then Paul McGregor ended up picking me. And I remember the conversation. I've never seen someone filthy they had to pick someone in the team, dude, like, because he went against his word, and he, he's very strong-minded in what he says, and that's what's got him to where he's gone through, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I remember looking at him, and I'm like, he is filthy.
He'd be
He's
dirty.
filthy enough to pick me, and that made me happy at the time.
Yeah.
Sucked in, sort of thing, and I achieved my goal that year, and it was great after the game. Some of the boys, when we were in the showers, was, saying very, very positive things to me about being in the team. But that was my last experience in the Dragons jersey. And 2017, man, I ended up going to Romania to try and play rugby union. I just
Romania, there you go. There's a new one.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
A place called Timișoara. Look that up on the map. That'll that'll show you something. Then I had a little opportunity to go to South. It didn't really take off. There was a conversation there, and I just didn't want to be in rugby league anymore. I didn't. It left a really bitter taste in my mouth. It hurt me, and I didn't feel worthy to be a part of it anymore. I had if I didn't have that opportunity to go to Romania, I may have taken that thing up.
Yep.
But for some reason, I was like, no, I'm going to go do this. And half of it was to run away, and half of it was for a new experience. And what I got over there was, I need to be more grateful for where the fuck I am and where I live. Because, as I said, I've got to own my shit. Because I asked for a release. These are all things that I externally were looking at, that they're all fucking against me.
Yep.
I initiated that too. Do you know what I mean? I've got to own my own energy. At that time, I didn't do that. This is part of my healing now. And when I went to Romania, dude, I was looking around and I seen some things that I'd never seen before. I'd seen people sleeping in -10 weather, rain and ice in the streets, sleeping on top of each other to keep warm. I seen wild dogs running through streets, bro. I seen people struggling, bro, like fucking hurting. Like, it's a very rugged terrain there. And I remember looking, and I'm like, what am I actually fucking complaining about as a person? What is your problem? Then I started getting, like, having chats to myself, and I'm like, you're ungrateful, bro. So what's going to happen here? And then, funnily enough, an opportunity which came before I left over to go to the Townsville Blackboards. Wolfie, who coaches St. Helens down, he's coming back to coach with Wayne at
at Redcliffe.
Yeah, Redcliffe, champion, absolute champion. So I rang him in a nightclub, funnily enough. How good am I going? So I rang him in a nightclub and was like, mate, is that contract still there? Because I was coming back. And he's like, yeah, mate, do you want to? He's like, where the fuck are you? And I'm like, I'm in the nightclub toilet. I said, I'll call you when I can talk tomorrow. But I'm coming back, so I want to come and play footy. I got my 5 weeks there. I got like €4,500 in a paper bag from the club because they were calling us the foreigners, the people that the coach had bring over. They necessarily didn't want there, which I understand, man. Like it's the hometown, like I get that, but I was like, I want to be paid, and they to their credit, the guy that was looking after me got me the cash. I went and stayed in Hungary for a week in Budapest, which was unreal.
Yep.
And then I got back in and went to Townsville, man, and I was up there. I was fucking overweight. I was still sort of unknown. Once I started getting around the boys and the environment, that again met some new players, and there was a lot of dudes that had just come from different places, like different NRL clubs, and I was like, "Fuck, this is cool." Like I like Townsville, and that first year, I was fortunate, man. Wolfie, some of the game was run through me. I got the ball a lot, which was cool, which was what I like. So it kept me honest. I had to play well, you know what I mean? So therefore my ego started getting stroked a little bit, and I got myself fitter, all that sort of stuff. I fell back in love with the game, flying everywhere and all that sort of stuff. I'm like, this is cool. Like this is what I needed. This is what I needed. But still on the drink, man.
On the drink,
like, every weekend, sometimes 2 times a week if we play Fridays, you know what I mean? Like when I drank, I'd punch the bungers as well, and Mad Mondays, you chase the gear, all that, like it's, all that stuff was still there, and that went through the year. Then it went into the second year, and I was sort of like, I got knocked out against the Sunshine Coast in my like round 24, I think it was, and I've been knocked out before. Like had concussion, and I remember coming off the field, and the first thing did when I sort of come to and I was walking off, I was like, I don't like this feeling anymore. I don't see why I need to keep doing this to myself. And like during that year too, like I was driving, I always had the opportunity because I was working with the NRL to go to Cairns, see all these other places and see Indigenous culture and learn about these things. Like I know minimal about it, but I started becoming curious of fucking outside of the footy bubble.
You started out like this other world that was outside you, wasn't it?
Yeah, dude. And I started to see this place sort of for what it is. And I'm like, this isn't what they've been telling us, this got me curious about all this stuff. I'd seen these conspiracy shows and all that. So then you look at it, the 9/11s, all that sort of stuff. And I'm like, yeah, like whatever. Then I started learning about things and I'm like, holy fuck. What is this joint? That's when, and then I fell into my youth work. Neville Costigan, who works up with Neville Costigan, used to played for the Dragons, all that. He got me a start, which I'm very grateful for because that's what I do now. You know what I mean? And I had the opportunity when all the flu bullshit and that sort of stuff happened because footy stopped. So I was working with these young people, and I was looking at them, and I'm like, this is me, but I didn't live in residential house. I'm searching. And then my uncle had been doing this for about a decade, Blakey. Yeah, he started talking to me about things, and I'm like, wow, my ego, my persona, my footy thing, it fucking doesn't mean anything. I've created this person that is a phony. You know what I mean? Like that's how I speak to myself because people may hear that and go, well, you're not. I'm like, well, you're not me. Like this is what makes me be me. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I'm going to start fucking helping people. And it starts with my work. Then all of a sudden, I was still in denial because I was still drugging and drinking at the time. And I'm like, hold on. I can only help people if I can fucking help me. Like, how do I go to work and tell a kid not to drink, smoke when I'm doing it in my life? That's what a fuckwit does, you know what I mean? I'm like, I don't want to be
you're not living what you're speaking, are you?
Exactly right.
You're lying to yourself.
Yeah, right. I'm still a phony, so I'm talking shit. So I'm like, okay, well, what do I need to do? So I got off prescription drugs. Then
that's massive. That's massive.
And the thing is, dude, and this is why I hold myself, and I'm very proud of myself. All these sacrifices I've made, dude, I did it by my fucking self.
Yep, I've seen it, and I've been in the last 2 years I've seen you doing this all on your own. So
so that was the first sacrifice, was that. Then I started changing my diet, and I haven't eaten like Macca's, KFC, Red Rooster, all those things. That would be 2 years next month. That was the second thing. Then the bungers and gambling. The alcohol was my best mate still. You know, like I'm like, I'll get rid of all these things, but can't get rid of the piss yet. The piss is my mate.
So
Piss
that was
still helps.
your last vice.
Yeah, bro. So what happened was up in Townsville, we weren't playing footy, and I'm like, I tell this story to people, dude. I was on a bender, okay? It was like 6 a.m, had the music on, drunk, high. There was people in the room, and I'd had these higher self conversations throughout my whole life, dude. I remember one when I was 5, and all these other things through my life. Even when I remember times when I'd be in nightclubs drinking, and I'd be like, "Why are you here? Go home." Just things like that, And I'm like, "What the fuck's that? Is that my brain? What is this? You know what I mean?" I'm like, I'm losing it. I can't say it, but I've had that for my whole life.
Yeah, same here. I know exactly what you're talking about. I've had that same conversation.
Yeah, bro. So I was on a bender and I went boosh, and I was dead sober. And I looked around the room and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And then something goes, "If you give all this up, I'll show you life." And I went boom, and I was back into feeling off my head. And I was like, "Was that my drug mind? What the fuck was that?" Anyway, went through the day, and I got home, dude. And I woke up the next day and I was feeling like shit. And it was like my hangovers were becoming worse.
Okay, yep.
And I was like, I'd just been starting to speak to my uncle. My uncle's my best mate. Like he's my guide. You know what I mean?
Blakey's a legend, isn't he? Bro, he's a legend.
Like, ever since I was a boy, me and Blakey, I don't know if we've been brothers from past or whatever, dude. Like I've always loved my uncle. Like I love him.
I would say that, bro. Like in previous lives, because you guys are like when I see you, you're like that. Yeah. You look, you can tell your family.
Similar, yeah.
And it's just
people call me Blake, people call him Jake. So it's funny. And
there you go.
I was speaking to Blakey, and I'm like, dude, I need to move home. And like, we're fortunate, man. My uncle's bought not Blakey, my other uncle Ryan's bought this massive family house at the Sunshine Coast where my nan's live. For my nan to be able to retire, that's a whole nother story. He's a great man as well. And I was like, I need to move home to be around you guys, And Blake's like, well, talk to Nan. So I talked to Nan straight away. She's like, come home. So I packed all my shit up and I left Townsville, and I was leaving, and I'm like, I'm doing it. So I moved back down here, but started work, but I was still drinking, not a lot, because I was like, fuck, how do I give this up? Like I'd be having a schooner. I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore, but something needs to happen to me. So like, and I'm like, what? Fuck. So there was a time when I was working in Brisbane, and I seen something that I just had never seen before. I don't think I can talk about it, and it was very confronting for me.
Yep.
And I wasn't processing it. Like I didn't know why they did it, and what like it was just hard for me my mind to understand what was going on for these young people. And I come home and I wanted to go have dinner out and have a beer. Blakey drove me, and I ended up just fucking doing bicep curls. Like I was hammering the piss, just smashing. We had a couple schooners, and I went up to the beach and sat on the hill and had some beers, and I was like fucking just I went manic. Like I was just like, I tried to get as pissed as I could. I'd organised the next day. One of my good mates, Gareth Witter, would come back from England. We had organised for lunch and get on beers next day, but I couldn't wait. Yep. Like I wasn't fucking coping properly. I ended up getting arrested that night. No, I didn't do anything bad. The police officers were giving this young fella a bit of a hard time, and so I thought it was my duty to fucking, be a fucking hero. Yeah. And they tried to move me on. I'm like, mate, I'm getting picked up. I'm not moving on. Anyway, they ended up arresting me and giving me a fine. And apparently, like, I don't really remember after that. I got home and apparently I tried to scull a bottle of red wine. I don't remember it. So my nan put me to sleep. I woke up the next morning, I was in the spare bed, and I was like, fuck, what have I done? Have I pissed the bed or something like that? Or have I just got up here and walked in here? I woke up in the morning, dude, and I walked into my room. And this is fucking drilled into my subconscious, bro. Like, this will never leave me. This is what changed me. I seen my nan cleaning up my spew. I had spewed red wine all up the wall, through the room, and my 79-year-old nan is on her hands and knees cleaning that. And I remember the amount of shame and disappointment I felt in myself. And I was like, fuck me, it's me. Like, that's what I said. I'm like, this is me. I can go move anywhere, but I'm taking me. So it's fucking me. And that was confronting. And I remember going and having a shower after that. And I cried in the shower, man, because I was really, I was hurt. You know, that broke my heart. Like, that was one time where I'm like, you're a fucking loser, bro. Like, you know, but I was still drunk in the morning, you know? So I'm like, but I made the choice. I was like, I'm going to enjoy today, whatever that is. This is the last time I'm drinking alcohol in my life.
So that was the big moment that just went, fuck.
Remember before
hello.
I said I need something to happen to me?
Yep.
That was it, dude.
Yep.
That was it. And I went out that day, I come back at 8 p.m. that night. I was hungover for 3 days. So I was in bed battling demons, bro. All this stuff. Go get back on the piss. It'll be okay. Well, Then all of a sudden, dude, Blake's company took off.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
Boom. So we're on emergency call to rock. That was our first thing. Blake and I got up. I got out of me. I stopped feeling sorry for myself. I got up. I was like, fucking, this is it. We're on here, you know. We went flat chat busy. And for about 9 weeks, dude, it was cool. We were busy. I'd been off the piss for about 2 months. And, you know, there's, like, dude, don't get me wrong. At the start, there was times where I was like, fuck, I've learned to go have a beer. You know, like, the fucking old ego stroke come back in. I'm like, I'll be okay. And I'm like, no. And then it would come back to my nan, dude, every time. And I'm like, you can't have a beer, bro. You've tried every which way your whole life. You've tried drinking water in between, starting on lights, just drinking bourbon. You can't have it. You know, so I was having these, bro. I was like, you are incapable of living a good life if alcohol is involved. So what the fuck are you going to do? Are you going to give it up? Then all of a sudden, 6 months went by. Then 12 months went by. And in between that, I started doing breath work, meditation, reading, ceremony, all these things. And I would change, bro.
Yep.
Cellularly and energetically. And I started seeing things so much differently. Like, even though we see the same shit every day, I was looking at it differently.
Your perception of the view of the world has changed, hasn't it? Because it's got another view of this. I would say a sober view, but also your mind's also repaired itself, isn't it? So it's starting to fucking see the world as it is.
And I was seeing it better because I was happy within myself. I was living how I was speaking. I was doing it. I was being about it, you know, like I was living how I should have been living the whole time, but I didn't understand how to do that because I wasn't facing myself.
Yep.
And when I got to the first year, I was like, how am I going to celebrate this? Because the alcohol's not a thing. So, and then I was like, I'm just going to get up and meditate at the beach like I do every other. It's not a celebration. Like, you know what I mean? Like, these are all things I laugh at. I'm still learning, you know? I'm like, what do you have to celebrate, bro? Like, you look at where you live, look who you know, look who you are, look at this. And I'm like, every day is a fucking celebration.
I was just about to say that every day is a fucking celebration when you look at it that way, isn't it, bro? Just waking up and going down, like, what, the beach is, 5 minutes from your place, if that?
Yeah, bro. Yep.
You know, so being able to wake up there, walk down the beach, bro, that's just a blessing in itself every single bloody day.
Yeah, 100% it is. And but along with the alcohol, dude, leaving, then I started going back and I'm like, I didn't like who I was back then. And I was holding on to that still, you know what I mean? I was like, I was a pig to people, man. I spoke to females really badly. I spoke to my teammates at times badly. Sometimes they deserved it. Sometimes they didn't, you know? Yeah. When I think, well, actually, that's wrong. No one deserves to be spoke like that. That's how I was speaking, projecting. So that was incorrect of me to say that. But
there you go. There's your consciousness working as you're speaking right now.
That's what I mean, dude. Yeah. Like, that's I'll pull myself up on these things all the time, dude. And I try to use the right words when I speak because I think when you have a deep conversation with someone, as we're doing now, the energy that gets passed in this conversation, and people will hear this. These conversations change lives, bro.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And exactly why I started Waydes World, bro. Like at the end of the day, like I know I talk about like, like some conspiracy stuff here and there and
Yeah.
bits and pieces like that. But at the end of the day, like when I got through post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety and depression, I was like, well, fuck, if I can do it, bro, everyone else can do it. Like I know if I can, everyone else can. And that's what got me speaking out at first, because I was like, I'm not going to sit here. And I'd already just a number to throw out. Well, not a number, but I've already lost 13 friends to suicide. I'd already lost by the time I was 20, I'd lost 13 friends to suicide. So I'd seen the devastation of it. I'd seen what it does to affect the families that were around. And that was the one thing, like, even when I was going through my shit, was like, as long as even if I'm sitting at the bottom, and that was one thing I never allowed myself to do, was to sit in my shit. I used to say I would squat in my shit, not sit in it, because I didn't want to bathe in it, because if we bathe in it, we get stuck in it. And then we get stuck into that mindset. And that is where, I guess, when I got out of that PTSD, and I was like, no, like what you said, as soon as I thought, no, I've got to help people, that's when same as you, I have to change what's inside me in order to help people out there. And that's what dove me inside first. Same sort of similar situation, but different.
And the thing is, dude, with the journey of healing, like I went through my stages, brother. I went through stages of my self-righteousness, because I'm doing something that a lot of people don't do, So I had to work on that. I had to work on empathy. I didn't even know what that word was until Blakey told me about it. I always thought it was sympathy. Like it's not our jobs, right? We can't heal no one else. But I can show you the way if I'm being about it and I'm the fucking example. So therefore that's what I do. And my biggest thing is for why I wanted to change, bro. And this is because I make these sacrifices now so my children and my partner don't have to put up with my fucking bullshit. Because I want my kids to be able to experience their father who loves them and protects them and will look after them always. They come to me to talk. My partner, I hope that she feels vulnerable and confident in our relationship, that she comes to me. So I need to be a man. I need to work on my shit. I need to understand that feminine energy. They're wild and free, bro. It's not my job to control her. But I know if I make it safe for her and happy for her, she will go out and do what she does, but she always comes home. And that's what I want to do, dude. That's why I believe the path I'm on. I've asked for this, bro. So when it gets a bit hard, instead of complaining, I'm like, remember, you're getting taught. It's not happening to you, it's happening for you, And even the stuff, dude, like with the stuff that's just all happened, and it's, something will come up in the future that we're prepared for now, you know what I mean? And I feel there's more hurt around than ever at the moment, but people are coming out of the other side. And that's what makes me feel happy, is that we all learn our lessons, but everyone's starting to understand that all they're trying to do is keep us apart when we're all together. We're all reflections of Mother Nature. And she is in us, and I learned this in the last 8 weeks, dude. I've gone through the most beautiful, heart-wrenching perception shift ever, But I look back, me individually, on my past 21 months of sobriety and healing. It's led me to this conversation now, like, if I haven't changed, we don't know each other.
And that's exactly right, bro. Like, you're 110% right there. And just even you saying that, then we were going to have a conversation 2 years ago. And I'm actually glad now that conversation didn't happen, because obviously, I've seen your growth. I've grown a fucking, I know inside I've grown a million times over. And I've seen it in you, and now we get to this end of this 8 weeks you've now been on, and now you're really now throwing yourself right into the middle of helping to heal men, as we look at it right now, eh? And you're right too. Like, this conversation would never have happened if, well, let's be honest, if either of us hadn't changed, we wouldn't be sitting here talking to each other. and then on to this 8 weeks.
The last 8 weeks, man, I've been a part of some pretty sacred things that were meant for me. You know, like as I said before, the timing, it's like it's all perfectly led into my perception now. And I met these two females, her name Mel and Ange, who I'm allowed. They've gifted me the opportunity to come and be a part of their retreats to speak to men as the masculine energy, you know. And that happened last week. And before that, Mel had done breath work with me, and she actually fucking knocked the top off the little cage my inner child was in. And I went back to him, bro. And I hadn't cried sober since I was probably 18. I bawled like a fucking baby, bro. It come out of me. And 2 weeks before that, I had ceremony where I sort of scratched the surface. But the big one that started it was Lionsgate. And I was sitting in the backyard having a fire by myself, bro. And I was sort of just chilling, you know, connecting, talking to myself and that. And the moon was like here. Then all of a sudden, like 20 minutes, it was directly above me. And I just sort of looked up and I was like, that's pretty cool. And like the higher self again, Jakey, it's okay. You can fucking forgive yourself, bro. And I was like, I forgive myself. And I felt like this massive, like
it's
release.
The acceptance, eh?
Yes, dude. And that's what I mean. My whole thing was to come back to me. Like as much work as I'd done, I'd never really, really deeply acknowledged myself. You know what I mean? Because sometimes, dude, I'm a man. Like, you know, like I'm a dude. Like sometimes I externally look at chicks and look at things and all that. I'm like, bring myself back to myself. But, you know, like, I'm not saying everything's a distraction, but when you start, and I've only learnt this again recently, once you start chasing a little bit, the universe, Mother Nature, whatever, she checks you. She like brings you back. You know,
it just pushes it further and further away. And then just allow it to come to you.
Or the funny thing is she lets you have it, so you have to go through the thing of going, oh, I actually don't need that. That actually hurt. Like, fuck, I don't want that anymore. You know what I mean? It's funny, bro. So the opportunity now to speak to men, and eventually it'll grow to what it's supposed to, is very humbling, man. Like, you know, to as I said before, when I put things up and I have vulnerable males and females who reach out and, hey, I've felt that before, but not footy wise, but this way and this way. And then I'm like, wow, everybody's just looking for connection and searching to understand each other to an extent, you know what I mean? So that gives me confidence that maybe I'm doing something right. Maybe me doing the self-work I've done now is leading me into a place where conversations can be created. And maybe the person I'm talking to now thinks, hey, I wonder what he means by breath work. I wonder why he gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Because I always be like, why the fuck are you up so early? I'm like, have you got up that early in the morning before? Have you got up before the sun? No. I'm like, look at the sun when it rises for the first 15 minutes and then tell me how you feel after it. Watch how your day unfolds. Intentions, affirmations, what are they? Look it up. You know, that's my thing now, is that if you want to know about it, you can ask me. But all I'm going to say is that if you want to know, look it up. I had to look it up. I had to learn things. You know,
exactly, and go out and experience those things too. Don't just sit on them like, oh, yep, I read it on the internet. Yep, everything's all good. Yep, blah blah blah. Like actually go out and do those things, and
100%.
Once you do them, you really get the whole perception of everything, isn't it? And it just starts like I try and explain it, like even just doing the starting off with the breath work, and people might not think it works, but it's the combination of doing it over and over again. It's not just you do it once and it's going to fucking fix who you are or fix or tell you what's wrong with you. It's a very big process, isn't it, to go through?
And the thing
it's not big, but it's a process.
It's a part of it, dude, because what it does is it allows you to go into a place in your subconscious where you can reprogram yourself. So you know, people go, oh, I've just done breath work. It hasn't done anything. I'm like, fucking, do you know why? Because you've got to start living how you speak. You've got to start outlaying the energy. I didn't really, like, I had an awareness of this, but I didn't start doing it.
Yep.
till, in the last year, dude, because I was healing, going through my stages of self-righteousness, and I'm the fucking this and that. And then I'm just like now, and I still got my times where I can drift off, dude. That's
Yep.
fucking part
Everyone
of
does.
that's part of the experience. But I have tools. I have understanding. I don't watch TV. I may glance at it when I walk past it, but I read books now, man. Like, that's hilarious to me. I know what a
Yeah.
book was. You know what I mean? Like, I go to the beach and watch the sun come up. I try to do things or do something every day that may help someone else, whether it's a conversation. Sometimes we pay for things where people,
Yep.
when you go to the coffee shop and you pay last, I like to do that sort of stuff. Not because I do it to get something, it's because I can do it. Like
Yep.
I'm in a position that I work for my uncle's company. So I have my full hours. I have these things. So I've been gifted this by the universe. Therefore, I've got to pay it forward in some way. That's why it's done, because I can. This is why I have these conversations, because I can.
Yep.
That's what it's about, bro.
And see, that's exactly what you're doing, is because you can. You're doing it, and like you said, you've said a couple of times in this conversation already, you're out here doing it. Like, you're not just talking about it. It's not like, it's like a computer. It's like writing the web address in and not pushing enter. And expecting it to work, but it's not going to work without the action behind it. And that's what I've always said. At the end of the day, when we work on ourselves and when we start to move forward with ourselves, we're actually we're actually hitting that enter key. We're actually actioning what we're speaking about, and then which will bring it into fruition even faster than you expect.
100%. And it's funny because I speak, like, when you begin to heal, bro, you get given universal goggles each time you go through a different layer, right? You begin, and this is why it's confronting, dude, and this is something that I process and have to work through every day, is that you begin to see the hurt that you once had in you and other people. And it's fucking everywhere, brother. It is. Like, I work with young people, dude, so I see it on a daily basis, man. This is why the accountability for me, I just don't go to the beach and get up early in the morning because it's a fucking fad and something to do.
Fad, yeah.
It fucking helps me live, bro.
That is, if I can just butt in there, bro, and say that is one of the biggest statements that's probably even on this whole fucking podcast in 40 episodes, is that, that's exactly it, is that it is so far ingrained in society now that it's just made normal,
Bro.
and it's far from normal that kids are feeling anxiety and depression at 14, 15 years old. Like, shouldn't they still be pretty much playing footy or being outside playing in the park, or
And it depends how deep you want to go with this, bro, because everything's designed to break the family unit up. Everything's
Correct.
designed to make sure that the children aren't looked after by their parents. And if the parents aren't aware of their own trauma, guess who takes it?
Passed down, inherited.
The children, bro. And again, I've only just starting to learn and understand this recently. This is stuff that the big fella out there, Blakey.
Oh, he taught me a lot too, old Blakey.
Bro, he's just been,
He's a
allowing
legend.
me to learn, but also drip feeding, and when you look at it, it's so well designed, this fucking system. People don't even know they're a part of it, bro. Like, we, to an extent, we need it because it's there, but you don't have to live the way they say, man. They're after it, but you don't have to give it to them.
Yep, you're 100%. That is, again, another statement. Like, they're just after it the whole time. They just want you out there earning the dollar. They don't care, what you're feeling. They don't care about the next man. They don't care about what the kids are going through, as long as that they're out there paying their taxes and earning a dollar for them. It's just, the system's just designed that way. It's
exactly
appalling.
right, dude. When I go to the beach now, bro, I don't take my phone. I take a book. I sit in the sun. Like, this is all stuff I've done. I used to take my phone down because I don't even know why, to be honest with you, because it's part of the fucking thing that I was doing. But I've made a conscious
habit.
Habit,
pick it up, take it.
And that's my time down there now. You know, that's Jake's sacred time. You know, that I've made that choice. You know, because I've been down. I'm like, well, what the fuck do I have this for? I'm not even looking. And then I take a book down there now, and just subtle changes I've made in my life, dude, like my diet. You know,
What's some of
it's
the big
just
things? Sorry, just while
yeah,
we're there,
go,
what's
bro,
some of the
far
big
away.
what's some of the big things that you've changed in your diet? You know, like obviously you said
Yeah.
I've done the same as you. I've stopped eating McDonald's, KFC, Burger King,
Mm.
anything like that. I'm probably about the same amount as you, bro. Probably about 2
Yep.
years. But
Yep.
what's some of the other changes that you've made sort of in your diet?
Yeah. So I've recently just got off carnivore.
Yep.
And I'll go back into breath work in a sec. So I got off carnivore.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'll get off carnivore. But the breath work was it helps explain why I got off
Oh,
carnivore. It's
sorry.
all
Yeah.
in fun, but yeah, it's fucking funny, dude. But I've just gone back now to 80-20. So 80%'s, you know, exactly good nutritionist whole foods like your fruits, your veggies, meat, all that sort of stuff. I don't only eat meat at dinner. I like to have oats and lighter stuff in the morning. Lunch is a bit of a salad sometimes, you know, salmon or maybe a little bit of meat. Then at dinner's like, you know, your proper mashed potato, some bread, all that sort of stuff. I have protein when I train, all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
Then my 20%, man, oh, ever since this breath work I've done 5 weeks, I can't look at chips, like packets of chips. That used to be my thing, Doritos and chocolate. I haven't had any in 5 weeks. I've dropped 5 kilos, man.
In
I thought
8 weeks, just
but
changing that, taking
I
those out.
thought I was dying, bro. Like, this is what it makes me laugh. Like, I don't drink soft drink. Or I drink fresh pressed juice and water. You know, that's pretty much it. And dude, like, I'm a sucker for chicken and gravy roll, like for a cheat meal or some hot chippies and a burger. Like, I'm not a full fucking, you know, whatever, but I have a
Yep.
balanced diet and I chuck in a little cheat meal here and there. But with the breath work, dude, and this is what blows my mind about my body and all this stuff is I've done the breath work, dude, and I come out of it and I couldn't eat meat, bro, for like fucking 3 weeks
Just at all.
at
Couldn't
all.
stomach it.
Yeah, couldn't. It just didn't work because I couldn't stomach it. Then I had a female reject me. And it wasn't even bad, dude. It was just her being upfront and honest and put a boundary in place. And I was like, even before I went to sleep, I was like, fuck, yo, I respect that. Like, that's cool. Thanks for being upfront. I'll leave you to it. If you ever want to do whatever, cool. We'll talk. You know, you reach out, sort of thing, and just let it be. The next day, dude, I woke up angry, agitated, frustrated, all these things, and I'm like, the fuck's this from? You know, so I sort of sat in it and I was waiting for it to leave. But as the days went on during the week, it was getting higher and higher. And I was like, rightio, well, I need to sit with this and see what it is. It was my trauma, dude, from being neglected, not getting nurtured. All these things, dude, was coming through me in like hot rush. And I'm like, when I even look back, it wasn't even rejection, dude. It was just a simple not interested at the moment. And I was like, even before I went to bed, I was like, cool. Like, I get it. Like, I get you've got your shit going on. Like, I understand that. That's cool. My little inner child that had the top knocked off it, he doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, you don't have a clue.
You know what I mean? Because he's
Yep.
like, well, fuck. Then my ego's like, well, who the fuck does this chick think she is? Like, you're doing the work. You're worthy. All these sort of things. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So I had to breathe, dude. And this went on for like 4 weeks, dude. Yeah, exactly right. And I'm
Winder and
this has been in my body for like 25 years, dude. Then I started when I was doing the breath work and the meditation, it was going back to the girls who rejected me in high school. The hug that I didn't get when I was growing up from my mum or dad. You know, chicks that said they liked me, but were hooking up my friends at house parties, you know, people rejecting me, not getting picked in fucking footy teams, all these things, dude, that had been sitting in me. I had to ride this motherfucking roller coaster for 5 weeks, dude. And I took a simple boundary personally, but that's how hurt I was. That's how much I was fucking, you know, inside. Took it personal when it wasn't personal at all, dude. And this is the thing about the self-work is I understand why people fear it. Because you got to sit in some fucking feelings and emotions that have been in your body, in your nervous system for years, decades.
Yeah.
Like I had it for decades, bro.
Yeah. And then you have the intergenerational trauma that comes on top of that
On
as
a
well.
cellular level, the ancestors, bro, that come from more time. These are all things I'm only learning because I'm like, I'm Jake. well, no, who the fuck is this? This is from someone from, like, do you know what I mean? Like, this is
Yep.
why it's so interesting, bro.
It's that
Is that
self-realization of, fuck, hang on. In order for me to be here, there's had to have all this shit fucking happen.
Yep.
And then there's the stuff of your lifetime as well that you got to deal with. You know,
100%.
fuck, there's so much shit to deal with.
And we aren't taught this, bro.
No.
You're taught about dissecting a rat in school. I have not fucking used that in my life. Why the fuck is that there? And then this is systematically, again, they don't want us to be happy and successful within ourselves. Maybe externally because you're worth a certain amount of money, but that's bullshit, because the stuff I've learned in the experiences I've gone on, the ceremonies, it doesn't matter. If you're not happy, if you're not aligned, if you're not doing your purest happy self,
Yep.
you're not a part of it.
Yep. Yep.
You know, it's really cool to do this shit. Like, it's fucking hard. Like, that last fight, dude, I lost my appetite for 3 days. I'm like, what the fuck? Am I dying? Like, I went, because I hadn't eaten, dude. So I was like, I'm gonna go. I went to the gym and I was still pushing good weight. So I'm like, my body's not. I'm not dying, because I was.
Your
still
body's still good.
I was still functioning, but then I'm like, I feel so shameful today, and I don't know why. I'm fearful, but I was still going to the beach and doing my routine. So I was sitting in it and being about it still. But I'm like, I have to breathe. I have to meditate. And then as I was meditating, as I said before, it was taking me back to all the rejection, fear, shame. No, Jack, go away. No, fuck off. No, I don't like you. And people making fun of me. And I'm like, whoa, my inner child, that was him, bro, because the top was knocked off through the breath work. Yep. He's like, the first thing that triggers me, we're going on a roller coaster, so fucking strap yourself in, bro. And it hammered me. Like, I had only, seriously, dude, I've come out of it, and there's still time, there's still waves of it, bro, like little waves.
Yep.
But I tell you what, from like Monday to Friday, that motherfucker was going up the roller coaster like that, and then just doosh.
I know those ones. I fucking know those ones, bro.
And the thing is that I'm happy with now is, dude, it's going to come again.
Yeah.
That roller coaster comes back around, and I'm better equipped for it. And
I was going to say, you understand the ride now.
Yeah, well, as I've said before, remember, I asked for this.
Yep.
I've asked for the love, and I've asked for the heartbreak. I've asked for the lessons. I've asked for the solitude. You can't have everything your way. If you want to get it your way, you got to be willing to sit in the shit to get to the sunshine. That's the way it is, bro. This is the human experience. And this is the thing is, it's a fucking cool ride, bro, if you look at it from a place of it's happening for you.
For you. Yep. Not to you, for you.
Not to you, for you.
Yep. And yeah, I agree with that, bro. This last, like I say to a lot of people, because a lot of, you know, just look at the stuff that's happened recently in the last 2 years. I won't go into it, but
yeah,
you know, over the last 2 years is I spent 20 years sort of in and out of research about what is coming, and then when it all came, it was like, well, this is easy, but I had to find myself again. Because I had compacted with all this shit on top, all this research. The research is what kept me sane. You know, like when I was, because I, you know, spoke to you before, my league career finished at 23 with a broken ankle and not being able to do what I wanted to do. So as a 23-year-old who wagged school all the time because all you were going to do was play league, you know, you already knew that you were, well, I had the confidence in me that I was like, I'm going there. Like, no one's going to stop me from getting to that. It was really the Kiwi jersey, bro. And that was, it was like, no one is going to stop me from getting in that jersey. I don't want to be a fucking All Black. I want to be a Kiwi. Like, that was me in New Zealand. Like, everyone wants to be an All Black in New Zealand. No, I want to be a Kiwi. And then from 23 onwards to, you know, I even say when I was probably like 33, 34, you know, I was still in this point of like my life's been nothing because I didn't do what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't do what I was put on the earth here to wanting to do. And then the only other thing I knew what wanted to do was to help people. But then of course,
can I ask you a question while you're on that?
Yep.
Do you, like, I look at it this way now, so I want to ask how you look at it. Do you feel it didn't happen for you to be able to teach you detachment. Do you know what I mean? Like, you were so attached to something that it at that time we don't understand it. I know I didn't
Yep.
understand what the fuck's detachment. But I look at things now and I'm like, that was a lesson for me to be able to break myself down to understand nothing is forever. Like,
Yeah.
we're infinite, but in the experience, nothing's forever. You're supposed to run into people, have conversations, have relationships, have friendships, lose them because we're always ascending and some people stay the same, which is fine. That's a part of it. Like, I'm understanding this stuff now, some chicks are supposed to be ones that you hang out with, some are supposed to break your heart.
Yep.
This is part of the learning, and it's funny, dude. Like, some of your teammates, or your friends, they're your best mates, and all of a sudden they do something that you're like, oh fuck, you don't actually like me, so I'm gonna get stepping this way because I don't want to be a part of that no more. You know what
Yep.
I mean?
And that have so yeah, detachment, yeah, that I
Yeah.
would say yes, because my whole entire life was probably like you, bro, very similar to you, was just all rugby league.
Yeah.
Was like from the time I was 5 years old, bro, that's all I wanted to do was play league, was
Yep.
professionally play league. So to get to a point where you're in that last couple of percent that's just about to make that next step, where you were fortunate enough to make that step. I had an injury that killed my career, and then it was like, I know for a long time I held resentment against myself because
Yep.
I was like, well, that was all I ever wanted. Like, why
Yep.
is it the one thing that I wanted, I couldn't get my hands on?
Wasn't for
And
you.
yeah, it wasn't for me. And a
Yeah.
lot of people look to me today, like in
Yeah.
what I'm doing with my life today, and they're like, that is why you didn't play rugby league.
Yeah, bro.
Because if you had played rugby league, you would have got into the money, you would have got into the system side of things. You probably wouldn't have woken up to the way the world is.
Yep.
So as much as I'm still to this day, I'm not gonna lie, I'm still to this day disappointed I never got to put a Kiwis jersey on.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I guess just like you said, I've learned to I know that my life wasn't meant to go in that direction.
Nah, bro.
It just is what it is.
And the funny thing is, dude, you're touching more people now with your thoughts and the way you speak than you ever were able to do it to a football game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this is the thing, bro. Like, as I said before, Mother Nature, she may let you just have something that you want to show that it's not for you.
Oh
Then
yeah.
you
Yep.
deal with. Then you got to. That's the lesson. You know what I mean? Like, it's so. I don't even know how to describe it. It's so funny, dude. It's like, I had my time where I was like so resentful. Like, I didn't even like myself because I played footy because I'm over that environment. But I'm like, that once upon a time, that thing to me, that experience in that realm was heaven, bro.
It
Like,
was fucking everything.
I can't describe to you the feeling when I started having the opportunity to go back and play first grade, running out the tunnel, dude, running out with my teammates, the guys that, like, that is a couple of still my mates now. And I'm like, when we're running out the tunnel, I'm like, I would be in this mind frame of, it does not fucking matter what happens to me as long as my teammates know I'm there for 'em on that
You're
field
good.
there
Yeah.
today. Like, if I played 5 minutes, I'm giving you the best 5 minutes. If I'm playing a full game, I'm giving you the best I can do. You know what I mean? And that's the drug of it, dude. Because all these chemicals are going through your brain, the adrenaline, the camaraderie, all these, the camaraderie of your teammates when you're all together. Like, when you're in that dressing shed, like, it's a bit funny at the start. Everyone's sort of like looking around, and then, like, you start looking around half an hour before the kickoff, and people's eyes are fucking glazed over. You know what I mean? People, they're getting into that primal part of their brain where they're like, if you look, what are you looking at? You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, you get in the scrums, dude, and you look at people, even though you're a bit fucked, you're like, what's this motherfucker looking at? What's he looking at me like that
Oh
for? Because you're just so in your, like, in the part of your brain where you're fight or flight, bro.
yeah, and that's what it is
Yeah.
in those sports, those big contact sports. Like, I always used to say to people, like obviously I wasn't in the fucking middle of the field like you were. You were rough and bashing up the middle. I was the little old fullback at the back there, but there was times where, like, I had to just take a shot. Like, it got to a point in league where I would be like, no, we're kicking off. So the first kick comes down, it's coming to me because I want to be hit. Like I need to be hit to like go, oh, okay, all right, okay, we're in. And that's what it got to is my first hit up of the game was not nearly a fucking 20-meter sprint into the first person that I was looking at, like just because I was like, I just need it to numb everything for the rest of the game.
Yeah, bro. And Blakey and I we talk about mind frame. Like rugby league's a game for traumatized boys, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Like those motherfuckers, and like we were a part of. We got some fucking shit wrong with us, bro. Like who thinks in their right mind? Like I look at it now, I'm like, sometimes I miss the contact and the challenge and the competitive side and fucking tackling someone hard and all that sort of stuff. But then I'm like, I can't take my mind to that place anymore, and I don't want to go there because that part of me's gone, And then I look at some of these players and I'm like, you can see in them that, like, like I look at the players and some of them get hammered for how much money they're on so young and all that stuff. But then you actually see where they're from and how they've grown up. How was your words affecting that young man now? Oh, he's worth this amount of money. He's doing fuck all. Well, hold on a second, mate. Do you know that he's never met his dad?
Yep.
Do you know maybe the coach is drilling him, and because he hasn't had that father figure, he's taking what he said personal. So he's thinking, well, fuck you, bro. I'm not going to play well for you. These are things no one thinks about, though.
Yep.
He's not having a go. No, maybe his grandma's passed away. Do you know that? No, but you won't share that, will you?
No.
But, we just, like, the media in that place is just, I understand a lot of it's to get people to watching that, but a lot of it, we got to start understanding the boys.
Yep.
We got to start understanding where they're from, and you're going to get a better product if these fellas are mentally looked after. Like.
Yeah. Well, question for you, bro.
Yeah.
With these kids and things like that, where do we start?
Man,
Where do you think, anyway?
That's fucking a pretty hard question to answer. the one that, one. Yeah, the one that always sticks out for me, dude, and Blakey said this. As men, we just keep fucking turning up for the young fellas, man. You're the example. It comes back to learning to be a man and being accountable, bro. Like how you speak should be how you live. Like if you're saying, I do this, and then you go and do something else, that young person will look at you straight away and go, you're full of shit. Because I've heard it, bro. I've got it said to me. That's another thing. I've had it said to me before. But when I speak with these young people now and they're like, I smoke bongs, or do whatever they've done, right? I can then sit there and have a conversation with them and start off, hey, bro, I once did that and this is what it done to me. I'm not telling you what to do, but you're worthy, brother.
Yep.
And I'm here to support you. They'll take that in, but they've probably never been told they're worthy, bro. They've never been hugged before. They've been pushed away. You see that a fucking
lot. Yeah, you see that a lot.
You know what I mean? So when you're actually saying to them, it's okay, I'm here for you, and I know I had it, I'm like, no, you're not. No, you're not. But if you keep turning up every day, cleaning, showing, looking neat, training, looking fit, they start going, well, he's helping me. He's here. I told him to fuck off yesterday, but he turned up again. Yeah, but I don't take that personal. You're allowed to say that.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, it's okay. Like, and this is the thing that dude, and the thing that even the females, bro, like, we got boys out here walking around in men's suit taking advantage of the gatekeepers, bro. Like they're showing this front, and some of these females, dude, they're like the young males too. Like they're searching and looking for love and all these things, and sometimes we all make the wrong decisions, and then the females feel the shame the worst, bro, because a female trusts harder than a man, because I'm learning and reading about, sex, dude, and it's fucking sacred. It creates life. And when a female, regardless of knowingly or unknowingly, when she allows you to be a part of her body, dude, and then you turn around and shit on her, that's a whole different kind of shame for a female, bro. And men out here are fucking using that, bro.
Yep. Absolutely
and
agree on that, bro. Absolutely agree.
I'm starting to go into this place, dude, where I need to be careful, because that triggers me. That angers me, because it gives me as a man, or trying to be a man and being about it, a fucking bad name, bro, because that's what a punk does.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it wrecks it for the guys out here that actually want to be friends with these chicks or get to know them on a personal level, not just as items to be able to call up for a booty call. Do you know what I mean? Like,
and that's something else that I've, especially in the last 2 years again, especially with, I have more of a female following than a male following,
Yeah.
In all honesty, like, that was one thing that, even saying, like, me and my partner have spoken about it, and it's like, at the end of the day, like, men and women should be able to be friends without having to have this persona that there's one thing that, and it always comes normally from the man side. It's always something that the man wants. But I think we're also starting to find a good balance between male and female at the moment. But like you said, there's still the few out there that like to how would you call it? The females like to call them what? Fuck boys.
Yeah. So, and this is, I never understood what that was. Like, I heard the American fucking chick say, I'm like, what's a fuck boy? I don't know what the fuck is that. But I understand it. But the thing is too, like, sometimes some chicks are chasing that too, which is like, so you got to like sort of be careful how it happens. You know what I mean? But there's so, like, the way I look at relationship now, bro, like, the way to approach it is to be friends and understand and get to know each other first before giving, starting off on the physical level. Look, it's cool to hug and kiss and do whatever. Like, I'm about that. I'm pretty affectionate when I like to get to know a chick, but sex is sacred, bro. And I used to laugh at that. Like, I thought that, the notch in the belt, all that bullshit that you get told about sleeping with hot chicks and fucking whatever. It's actually a coward's way, bro. I feel, that might trigger people, but that's how I feel now. I never once thought this is me now looking at it with what I've learned,
Yeah.
It's
me and my partner, we were friends for 12 months before anything, before anything ever happened.
Yeah. Because it's actually harder, bro, to, like, when you think about it, with how some people are, it's actually harder to sit with someone and have a conversation and go, how was your last boyfriend or girlfriend? Oh, they cheated on me, fuck them. Then all of a sudden, you can help them through that to an extent as a friend before you physically come and, do what you do. Because in turn, if you treat her or she treats you like her last partner, you're taking that energy on as well, because you start fucking around with some dark arts there. You know what I mean? Like, some people don't understand this sort of stuff.
Hurt people.
Bingo. Hurting people, hurt people. Like, like, it's however you want to put it, dude. And the thing is, it's fucking cool to know chicks, bro.
Oh, fucking tell me about this.
Dude, some of them are fucking warriors, bro. Like, I always laugh about this because, like, when a guy has a fight or whatever, like, you can one punch KO. You fight a chick, or they fuck you up, bro.
Oh,
they're biting, scratching, kicking, kneeing, whatever. Like, they'll fuck you up. Like, they're different, dude. They're just,
and then they'll mentally fuck you up too if they want to.
Like, you see, it's funny, dude. Like, when you're in you think a dude can fuck a chick over, a chick can fuck a dude over 50 million times worse, and then the guy's got to deal with his ego after that. You know what I mean? Like, unlucky, bro. Like, but this is the thing, dude. Like, I've only really started looking into this, and I'm like, I had minimal to no idea how to approach a relationship with a chick, dude. Like, that's true. Like, I'll be vulnerable with that. Like, I had minimal. Like, I thought something completely different.
Yeah.
And now I look at it and I'm like, I'm going to approach whenever I'm speaking to a chick is the way that I've sort of looked at it is that the gatekeepers can choose, bro, because they bring life here. So you got to be accountable. Like, it comes back to my work. My work's taught me so much to be accountable, speak how I live, be fit, all these sort of things, things that I probably took for granted or didn't work on as much. And the thing is, when a chick trusts you and is loyal to you and is honorable and the man is to her, that's strong.
Yep.
And I don't have a partner yet, dude, but I'm working on myself to be able to let her know, or when I am talking to girls, this is my resume.
Yep.
If you're about this, cool. Let's rock and roll. If not, I get it too, like some people don't like the upfrontness, and I've witnessed that as well, because I believe I give you, a bit to show you who I am, but if you want to get to know me, then I want to get to know you too. So how do you want to rock? You know what I mean? I think the smartest thing to do, in my perception, is allow the female to choose, because then you don't take it personal as a man and your ego gets hurt when they actually do leave.
Yep.
Because
got to agree. Fucking agree with that, bro.
And dude, I've had my ego crush, bro, where I think I'm killing it, and the chick's just gone, and I'm like, well, fuck, what?
Yeah,
but then
hang
I'm
on,
like,
what's going on here?
What? Yeah, well, I use it as fuel now. Like, okay, well, that's telling me something. I'm not where I think I am.
Yep.
So what do I need to do now? Read some more, check myself. What am I doing? You know what I mean? Like, I don't like using the word game, but it almost is. You know what I mean? Like,
well, it's a game of life, isn't it? Really?
Exactly right, bro. Exactly right. So these are all things that I'm sort of in the modest of now, dude. Not wasting my time in the pubs. It's about reading and learning and want to be a better man and relationship. Like, I'm just intrigued by it at the moment, dude. It's something that's sort of, tinkering with my mind.
It's fucking awesome to see, bro. And like I said to you, like on socials and that, like you having that hiatus and then coming back, you came back as like I said to you, come back as a fucking changed man. Like you look at your old post and then you looked at your 6 or 7 months later, and it was just like, oh, hang on, Jake's this is a new Jake. Like, you're just you've really come to life. So
yeah, we're all, like, as I said, I look back at some of the shit and just laugh, like, what the fuck was this bloke thinking of, and then even now probably some people think that, but I know myself from being true, so therefore it doesn't affect me. You know what I mean? If I was
absolutely,
bro.
No, all right, bro. Well, we'll wrap that up now. We've gone on. We're probably about an hour 45. You might be my longest one so far.
Dude,
so.
I loved it. I love the chat, dude. I love the connection, man. So yeah, anytime you feel, in 6 months' time when we've got some more stories or some more stuff.
Absolutely. I was just about to say it to you, bro.
Yeah.
I want to, once you start getting into your class, like you start doing your retreats and that. I'd love to get you back on, a few months' time or whatever, just to catch up and see what's going on forward with the rest of your world, I guess, over there.
Yeah.
And then hopefully sooner, well, I'm hoping by the end of the year, I might be able to get up there and visit the new home pad up there where you and Blakey and all that are. So I'm cool. Hoping around Christmas, hopefully.
That'll be unreal, dude.
Yeah, because I got a couple of nieces over there I haven't met yet, due to COVID. So
yeah, cool.
Yeah, haven't met them yet. But last things last, bro. Just before we both shoot off and finish this up for now, is there anything that you want to leave everyone out there with? Is there anything that you just want to say, just to keep it in their back pocket?
Yeah, I suppose anyone that listens to it, just be vulnerable with yourself and want to learn about yourself, because we've all got a story. Acknowledge your past and build a better future through the present. We're all worthy. We're all doing our best, and don't be so hard on yourself, because no one's getting out of here alive. Just enjoy the ride, I suppose.
Fucking love it, bro. Love it. All right, everyone. Well, there was Jake. A massive thank you to Jake, bro. I appreciate, it's a Saturday afternoon. It's 7:45 in New Zealand time, so it's about 5:45 over there in Aussie at this time. So you'll be nearly ready for dinner. But just want to say I appreciate you giving me your time, bro. Time's the most valuable thing that we all hold. So I really appreciate that more than anything, of giving us your story and the time as well. Now, to everyone else out there, I hope you guys go out and enjoy the rest of your day, your evening, your morning, wherever you may be in the world. I hope you guys have an amazing day or amazing evening. So, as we do here in Waydes World, the last little bit, I know everyone loves it. So just remember, you're all perfectly imperfect. You are all beautiful and you are all loved. All right. This is a mind game and it's a mind war. As long as we stick together and start working together, the unity is what's key, is going to bring us through this as one. So go out there, trust in yourself, believe in yourself. And the most important thing on this fucking journey is to go out there and remember who the fuck you are. Because once you remember who the fuck you are, there's no taking anything away from you. So go out there and do that. All right. But other than that, thank you again, Jake. We appreciate you having you on, bro. And we look forward to having you back. And to everyone else out there, enjoy. All right. Ka kite. Cheer, cheer.